Hi everybody, Nancy Beauvair here with Agape and NEXsteps, and I want to talk again about the affordable housing issue. I hope that you're not getting tired of hearing about this because it is a pretty critical issue, and by not talking about it, we're not going to find a solution. We have not just seniors who can't find affordable housing that suits their needs, but we also have students, we have the working poor. So this is something that crosses all boundaries, all ages. We have a really critical housing issue, not just in Canada, but also in the United States. And I'm quite sure that this is an issue in other countries as well. In one of my previous videos, I brought up about the tiny home solution. So obviously, tiny homes aren't the answer for everybody. But there's no reason at all why it can't form a part of the solution. We could create tiny home villages for students who can't find accessible, affordable housing to go to school, to get their degrees, to become productive members of the society and pay their taxes, which is what the governments ultimately want, the politicians ultimately want. So how are we going to help them get there? We need to be able to have them be able to afford to live somewhere so that they can get their education and go out and join the workforce. We can also put together villages, as I had mentioned before, for our seniors. You could put a tiny home village together. Many seniors are already living in studio suites of 300 to 400 square feet anyway, so why not create a tiny home scenario where they actually have some autonomy over themselves. You can put in a kitchen so that these people can continue to cook if they want. And you can also create a community center. There will be the opportunity for them to get together in the common grounds. You could put fire pits, you could put gardening. And then there's the working poor. Now granted, in many cases, the working poor are going to have families, are going to have children, so a tiny home solution may not work for them. There are still a great number of people who are the working poor who don't have families yet, who are working minimum wage jobs, trying to make ends meet, and don't have any money left after they pay their rent for food or anything else that they need. So I wonder why our governments, our politicians aren't working to resolve this issue. Yes, here in Canada we've got this deal that the federal government came out with, and they're giving a bunch of money to developers. I see a lot of construction around my home city of Calgary, but it's for condos and infills and things that the working poor and the seniors and the students can't afford. So we're not really resolving the affordability crisis. Now, are they not doing this because they think it's a concept that can't work? Well, guess what? It's a proven entity. I had the opportunity earlier this week to meet with Dave Howard. He's the co-founder of Homes for Heroes. He has a tiny home village in Calgary, in Edmonton, and in Kingston, and he's working on Winnipeg, Halifax, and I'm sorry, Dave, I can't remember the third city. What they're doing is they're providing accommodation for homeless veterans who have maybe PTSD or some other issues getting back into the workforce. So they have these tiny home villages. They have one here in Calgary over in the southeast off 17th Avenue, and they're 300 square foot units. They have a full kitchen, a bedroom, a bathroom, and they have a common area. Plus they have a community center. These veterans, when they enter there, sign an agreement and they agree to get their support, their counseling, their treatment plan that they need in order to transition, get well, and be able to go back out into the world as more whole individuals. He said that the average transition is 1 to 2 years. The village here in Calgary houses 15 homeless veterans. and there's 20 units available in the Edmonton and the Kingston locations. So this is a project that has proven to have worth and to give people some dignity and some housing while they get better. Kelowna, earlier this year, they opened up a village, tiny home village, for the homeless. If I recall correctly, they have 60 tiny homes. I guess there isn't any will to do this simply because a lot of those people aren't voting, which is really sad because I thought our politicians were supposed to represent all the people, regardless of their means. And to pay lip service to caring about homeless, to caring about seniors, to caring about mental health, to caring about our wounded veterans, and then do nothing to support them is actually criminal to me. I just don't understand it when it could be so simple. Now, Dave shared with me that one of the biggest obstacles that he's come up against with all of what he's trying to do is zoning laws. The city, the towns, the municipalities, they have the means to change the zoning very, very easily in order to create some solutions to these societal issues. And all that they have to do is allocate some land and let people put these things up. And I'd like to also call out our corporate citizens, our corporate leaders who have the financial means to support something like this. Now, I'm not suggesting these people have worked hard and they deserve what they've built. There's no question. But how about giving back to society? I met with somebody several years ago who was of means, and I had suggested some kind of a cooperative housing scenario, and he thought it was a brilliant idea. But he pointed out that you will not get people with the financial resources to participate in that unless they get some kind of a tax write-off, which requires foundations and things like that. Okay, so we have these people with a lot of money, and they have the financial means to support the creation of a foundation and to pay somebody to help them create and to manage that foundation. I'd like to call on them to step up to the plate as well. They can create influence on the politicians. They can do something here to help us find some affordable housing across the spectrum for the people who need it. So I'm going to leave you with that. Please, if you support this concept, I'd like you to contact your MPs, your MLAs, your city, your town councils. Call people out on this. Let's start a bit of a revolution on this. Let's see if we can't get people motivated to actually create some solutions here. Thanks very much. I'll talk to you again. Bye for now.